Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Esuka Great Nature Cardfight Vanguard standard deck profile for March 2021. Before we get Clan Selection Volume 2, I want to take a break from some of the decks from Clan Selection Volume 1 and focus on a deck that I actually never did a deck profile for, being the Great Nature Isabel deck that Esuka used during the Shinamon arc. It's a really interesting effect that focuses on the normal unit, trigger unit, mill abilities that the Great Nature deck has, being able to gain different card abilities based on what card you reveal for the send from the top of the deck, and all that different playstyle, plus the new support we received from the latest booster pack for the Great Nature support. I'll also be focusing more on Hamskade during the Clan Selection Volume 2, so before then I figured we focus on this Great Nature deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the grade 3 units, still running 4 of the original Holy Great Sage of Black Shadows Isabel. On your Vanguard, continuous ability, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you perform both of the effects for performance of the effects. So you'll gain both of the cards down below. When placed, you Soul Blast 1, put the top card of your deck into your drop zone, perform one of the effects below depending on the card's type. If it's a normal unit, that unit gets plus 15,000 power until end of turn. If it's a trigger unit, return that card from your deck into the drop zone and put this effect to your hand. So basically with it, you have the option for returning the card put from the deck into the drop zone back into your hand, so gaining you a plus with a card, and also gaining this unit the plus 15,000 power. But this is more of a backup unit to our next main go-to unit, which also is a different form of Isabel, which we are also running 4 of, and that is Sage Saint Mentor of Black Liqueur Isabel. On Vanguard, and if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you perform one of the effect abilities. So with it, it's just more opening up to the different abilities. When placed on Vanguard or rear, you look at 3 cards to the top of your deck and put them on the top of your deck in any order, which is great just for setting up your original Isabel if you put this card on your rearguard circle. And on Vanguard circle, once per turn, counterblast 1, choose one of your unit's auto abilities with when placed and activate it. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, all of your front row units get plus 10,000 until end of turn. So with this, if your opponent's Vanguard having that grade 3 ability, it just helps for the initial setup, choosing one of the auto abilities when placed and activate it. So having both of these options just give you more of a layout for what you can do on the field with your different cards, especially with the auto ability with when placed. Being able to reactivate those when placed abilities is definitely useful, since a good majority of the different units in this deck just help with that, and the plus can no longer just go to your Vanguard circle like the original Isabel did. This one allows all of the units in your front row, so even with Excel, you have more and more power split up basically to all of your different units on the field. And also for the grade 3s, I just run for backup 2 Daring Scientists, Mari Martin. On Vanguard or rear, when placed, counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, put the top card of your deck into your drop zone, perform one of the effects below, depending on that card's type. So normal unit, your opponent cannot intercept until end of turn. If it's a trigger unit, retire all of your opponent's rear guards with the same column as this unit. So you have power. This is going to mostly be used on your rear guard circle. Your main go-to unit will be Isabel, and you'll be able to have this setup just stopping an intercept or retiring. So depending on what you reveal, it'd be better with a grade 2 unit, obviously for the normal unit, but retiring or restricting the intercept comes in handy no matter what the unit may be on the rear guard. For the grade 2 units, I run 4 Lovey-Dovey Daughter. On Vanguard or rear when placed, counterblast 1, put the top card of your deck into your drop zone, perform one of the effects below depending on that card's type. If it's a normal unit, call that card to rear. If it's a trigger unit, this unit gets plus 15,000 until end of turn. So it's another power boost card, but also just being able to call normal units with just a counterblast and revealing it can either make up for the boosted unit or having this card on an additional Excel marker, meaning you won't even benefit from the boost for this card, and then just being able to benefit from the plus 15 altogether and the additional power that the Excel unit will provide. And I also run 4 Binoculus Tiger. This card's always been good for Great Nature. On Vanguard or rear, when it attacks a Vanguard, counterblast 1, put the top card of your deck into your drop zone, and either perform, if it's a normal unit, you draw a card. If it's a trigger unit, you choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, and if their unit is in the front row, this unit gets plus 5,000 till end of turn. So 3 of your units get that plus 5,000, and then also just being able to take out a unit or draw a card provides you a draw power, because you can definitely eat away a lot of your resources with this deck involving Binoculus Binoculus Tiger, and then just your overall setup. And then lastly, for the grade 2s, I also run 3 Scientist of Black Sheen Matilda. On Vanguard or rear when placed, counter +1, top card your deck into the drop zone, perform the effects below, depending on the card's type. If it's a normal unit until end of turn, when your opponent would call a card from hand to guard circle for that battle, this unit attacked, he or she must call 2 or more at the same time. So this is a guard restriction card, so a little more situational than Binoculus or Lovey-Dovey, but still great for added backup with both of them. And if it's a trigger unit, this unit gets critical +1 till end of turn. The fact that this also works on Vanguard or rear means that you can have early game pressure if not getting a trigger against your opponent. And we're running a front lineup for the deck, so this additional critical power can definitely help. While Isabel provides more pressure, this can be just that additional critical power that would make this an unguardable attack against your opponent, depending on how much damage they were at. And that is it for the grade 2s. Moving on now to the grade 1s. I run 4 Prober of Blackjet Cecile. On Vanguard or rear when placed, you Soul Blast 1, which is great because you definitely do eat away at counterblasts with all of your grade 2 units and your grade 3s. Yeah, and basically if it's a normal unit, you Soul Charge 1, and this unit gets +5 until end of turn. If it's a trigger unit, you draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards from your hand. So it's not really a plus card. It's more just to mill through more cards in your deck and gain some of the more important ones into your hand for you to use. And the fact that you can make up your Soul if you reveal a normal unit means you just have that option to reuse this effect again with the Sage Saint Mentor of Black Liqueur Isabel when on, because it can, like I said, just reactivate all of these when placed abilities. And for more grade 3 search power, just so we can get the proper grade 3 into our hand, I run 4 Diligent Assistant Mini Belly, having the grade 3 search when placed on rear Vanguard from hand, and then just the discard. And during your turn, if you have a unit on an additional rear guard, this unit gets +5,000 power, which you should have most of the time set up with this deck, with the majority of the ones you wanting to call the additional rear guard be cards like Lovey-Dovey Daughter or your Binoculus Tiger, both which can either power themselves up or every additional card on the front row up to 3 numbers with Binoculus Tiger. And then to finish off the grade 1s, I also run 4 Besom Ringtail. On rear, when attacks or boosts, you counter +1, put the top card of your deck into your drop zone, perform one of the effects below, depending on that card's type. If it's a normal unit, draw a card. If it's a trigger unit, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, and this unit gets +5,000. So with it, even when it's attacking alone, that +5 could be enough for you to then hit one of your opponent's units. That's why I like running 4 of this card, just for that added power, being drawing, making up for your normal units that you mill with this card, or just being able to get that +5 and then retire one of your opponent's rear guards. Being able to have that setup can dwindle away their resources while still providing you with plenty. And that's it for the grade 1s. For the starter, decided to go with Beginning Hyrax, just basically for the fact that this card's very adorable and very fitting, I would say, for the Esuka Isabel deck. And for the trigger lineup, I said before I wanted to go with more pressure with all the different units. So I'm running 4 Correction Chinchilla and 4 Castanet Donkey for the 8 front trigger lineup. You can try the Rainbow lineup for the additional critical in the deck, but it's player preference at that point. You would just take out 4 of the front trigger choice for that lineup. Or you can even go the Sentinel route, keeping the 4 fronts in and putting in the critical Sentinel instead of the Cable Sweep, but I still like the guaranteed guard against a good amount of my opponent's different attacks. And then lastly, for the heal trigger, just the 4 Dictionary Goat, still I would say my preferred heal in the deck to use. What was the original Great Nature one? It just seems very fitting for the Scholar-based lineup for this deck. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. Like I said, waiting for clan selection too. It's just right around the corner, so we'll have plenty of other decks from that set to look forward to. I just wanted to take a break from the clan selection one because we definitely went through a good amount of different decks from that set and try something else with this video. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.